So we got Tom Tolbert on the line right now, and this is a guy that, Tom, you should be able to tell us exactly what's going on because you played back in that era that, well, not exactly when Oscar was playing. You are pretty old. You're older than me, though. But you also have a front row seat to what Steph is doing right now. Number one, hey, thanks for joining us, Tom.
What's up, ED?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm just interested in just hearing your take on this because, as I said, you were there when defense was tighter. You were there when defense played harder, and the rules were different. But you're watching Steph do these things as the analyst there. How would you evaluate his game then and now?
Oh, his game would certainly translate in any era. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, back when I played, I don't know if defenses were any better. We just were able to get away with more. It was a more physical style of basketball. You could chuck cutters. You could basically redirect a ball player with a hand on a hip. I mean, Derek Harper was one of the best in the league at it. You can't hand check anymore. I mean, they just want guys to be able to run free, and it's a more aesthetically pleasing style of basketball for the fan, and that's ultimately what they wanted. But defenses certainly were a lot more physical. We're allowed to do a lot more. So for Steph, it'd be harder to do those things. But he would certainly, he would certainly flourish.
Now, Oscar Robertson is saying that the coaching aspect of the game has changed. I mean, you 7 years in the NBA, you went through your coaches. I'm sure you learned a lot of different things from the different systems that you were in. How far, you know what, let me just say this. How valid are the comments that Oscar Robertson is making?
You know what? I mean, look, Oscar's a great player. He's one of the greatest to ever play the game. It just sounds like, the old man sitting on the porch. Right? Like, oh, man, I tell you what, I used to work so hard back in my day, and these young whippersnappers nowadays, they don't know what it's like to go out there and work, and we had to do, it's like, stop. Just stop. I mean, I try to stop myself whenever I, talk about the 80s where I grew up, like, really watching basketball, the Lakers and the Celtics, and then playing against some of the Bird teams and Magic teams and Jordan teams, and those teams are the best ever, and they would do this and they would do that. I mean, you just got to stop yourself. I mean, it's so hard to compare eras. I mean, I know it's barstool type stuff, and everyone wants to do it, and how would this team do against that team? And, you get Charles Barkley, who I love, coming out and saying, they would have killed those guys, the Bulls would have killed those guys. I mean, it just sounds like you're the old man in the rocking chair saying our generation was so much better and so much tougher, and these guys have it easy today. So I think what Oscar's saying is completely baseless. I really do. I don't know where he gets off talking about coaching was much better today. I mean, everybody thinks everybody just comes down and shoots threes nowadays. Like, it's just that simple to shoot threes. And, yeah, the three has taken over the game. And I would like, in a perfect world, I would like the court to be widened by about 5 feet, and the three-point line to be about 26 feet all the way around.
Okay.
I think that would bring the risk-reward back into the three-point shot. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So that's just the way the game is played today. But I think what these guys have done, especially the Warriors, and especially Clay and Steph, is they've adapted quicker than anyone else. And they're utilizing the three-point line as a big-time weapon, and now not only do you have two of the best shooters in the game, the two best shooters in the game, now it opens up everything for everybody else inside the three-point line. So, you know what? Sometimes it's just sour grapes. Like, gee, I hate what the game's become because we can't do it.
Well, Tom, I think it's safe to say right now that Steph is probably the toughest out from an offensive standpoint for anyone to guard. Who would that guy be when you were playing at your time, and how would his game elevate or dissipate in today's game?
Oh, it's Jordan. I mean, it was Jordan, and Jordan would kill people today too. I mean, Jordan would do it. Bird would do it today. No, I mean, Jordan just didn't. He developed a pretty decent three-point shot. He was never a guy that you worried about at the three-point line early in his career. Later on in his career, he became a fairly proficient three-point shooter. But, I mean, really, him in the post and he was so strong. He could elevate. He could get to the rim. He had a great turnaround jump shot. And like Steph, I mean, when you talk about all these guys, the one thing they have in common is their competitive nature. I mean, they just get out there and get after it. So yeah, Jordan would certainly be that guy, and he would translate to any era. I would love to see that game. I mean, we're not going to see it. It's fun to discuss those Bulls teams against these Warrior teams, but it'd be fun. I mean, for those that think that the Bulls would kill them, I mean, I think we mythologize these teams back when we were younger and watching, like, oh, these teams are so awesome. Nobody could beat these teams. And you try to find a reason why you can't beat those teams. And people say, well, the Warriors don't play defense. Well, they do. I mean, the Warriors are one of the best defensive teams in the league. They utilize a three-point shot like no other team before them. They have two of the best shooters in the history, not just today, the history of the NBA. They probably have the best shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA. I mean, and these guys are still young and still going. I mean, they're long, they're athletic. They don't get enough credit for what they do defensively because they're able to get out and switch so many things. So they got so many like-sized guys and guys who can guard 2s and 3s and 4s, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, John Livingston, Klay Thompson. I mean, they are a complete basketball team. I mean, you don't get to be a complete basketball team without being 52-5.
Well, Tom, you talk about that complete team, and there are a lot of people out there chasing them. Actually, the entire league, there are 29 other teams chasing them. And a guy just hit the waiver wire, Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
You shocked by that? LeBron saying that he'd be a great piece for them. Could that help them?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Cleveland, to me, is more a collection of pieces than they are a team. And you add Joe Johnson, it's just like another guy, like guys that you know their names. Like, oh, I know that guy's name, he's good. I know that guy's name, he's good. I know that guy's name, he's good. Where I think you look at the Warriors, and they're a team. Like, all the pieces have to fit together somehow. It's not just collecting jigsaw puzzle pieces and saying, well, we got the best pieces. Let's throw them on a board and see what it looks like. Well, sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, Cleveland's good because they have a lot of talent. Can they beat a team like the Warriors? I'm not so sure. I don't know if Joe Johnson helps. I mean, they already have, some off-guard. J.R. Smith is getting a lot of run there, and I think he does a pretty decent job. I don't know. If they get the Joe Johnson of the Nets, there's not a chance it helps. I mean, if they get the Joe Johnson of Atlanta, maybe. Joe Johnson of Phoenix, absolutely. But that Joe Johnson's gone, and that Joe Johnson ain't coming back anytime soon. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like anybody that's somebody that you once knew, you're like, oh, that guy used to be good. Like, Cleveland would be interested in him.
Well, you know what? I got to ask you the $64,000 question, because it's a foregone conclusion by most that the Warriors are going to win the championship this year, the way if they continue playing the way they're playing. But what I got to know, I want you to answer this question.
Yes.
If the Golden State Warriors don't win the championship this year, it will be because of what?
Whew. If they don't win the championship, it'll be because teams limit, not take away, but limit Klay. I don't think you can limit Steph. I think Steph is so good that he's going to get his eventually. You try to make him do it inefficiently. I'm not sure that you can. But I think if you try to take away Klay, because Klay is a catch-and-shoot guy, and Klay doesn't have all the wiggle that Steph does, and he doesn't have the ball handling skills, and he's not able to get himself open. I mean, Klay's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I think we were talking about this yesterday on the show. I think you try to take him away, and I think you forego on the offensive glass. I think maybe you have one guy go, maybe two at most, but your 1s, 2s, and 3s have to get back. They have to. This team destroys you with open court 3s. I mean, they lead the league by far, and I think fast break 3s. And you just can't let that happen. You can't let them get going in the open court. You can't go under screens ever against this team. I mean, I saw Miami do it a couple times with Steph. You can't go under with Steph Curry. I mean, he will bury you. So I think you have to do whatever you can to take away that three-point shot, because that's what they live on. Easier said than done, because they run a lot of really good stuff and they get guys open. But I think Klay is the guy that you have to say, like if you're the Spurs and you play him, you just put Kawhi on Klay and say, look, this is your guy. Don't leave him. lock him up, because I don't think it does any good to put Kawhi on Steph, switch him off on Steph, because Steph's still going to get his. I mean, Kawhi can do a great job. He's the best defender in the league, but I think it's easier to shut Clay down. Not easy, but easier. And even if you do that, there's still a good chance you're going to lose the basketball game because they have so many good players.
Well, you know what? That is great analysis. You hit some good points about that NBA game, but I got to ask you one thing about your school. This whole floor storming issue, and we've been talking about whether or not they should stop it back in colleges, the home court storming after games won, after you beat your rival. How do you feel about that, man? I think they should take it out before someone gets hurt.
Stay off the court. Your ticket entitles you to a seat. It doesn't entitle you to come onto the court. I mean, you storm in the court, by definition, the home team won. The visiting team's going to be bitter. And now they got to deal with you running on the court, probably yelling at them, certainly bumping into them. And someone's going to lose it and smash somebody right in the face one of these days. And they're going to be the ones that get blamed for it. So give them 10 seconds. Let them get off the court. I mean, if you're going to storm the court, let them get off the court. We won't shake hands. We'll just go straight to the locker room, and you can come and jump around with your home team. But I hate the fact, I've seen it so many times in football, somebody will storm the field, and guys are just off, and you get a fan that runs up and taunts them, and pats them on the shoulder pad or puts a finger in their face. You don't need that. And what kind of state of mind do you, like I said, as an athlete, what kind of state of mind are you in after you just got your ass beat? You're not happy. You don't want to see guys running and jumping. So you're probably not in a frame of mind to think clearly and think, you know what, I'm going to leave this guy alone. I'm going to leave this person alone. No, you're bitter. So, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But I've always said this, and I'm guessing it would not hold up in a court of law, that if you stay in your seat and we come get you, that's on us. You come onto the court and we get you, that's on you.
I like it.
Probably wouldn't hold up. That's the way I feel.
I like it. I've said it. From a fan standpoint, I see it one way. I get it. But from a player standpoint, I say the same thing. Everyone does not have the right to be on the court, on the field. Stay in the stands. I like it, man. Hey, good stuff. Always good talking to you, Tom. You guys can check out, when you're up in the Bay Area, listen to Tom. He's a co-host at KNBR, Afternoon Drive, Mr. T and Ratto. Tell the Rat Man I said hello, man. All right? Good stuff.
ED, I will, and you should be thanking your whatever guide you have that you don't have to go watch people run around in underwear this week.
You know what? I'm really happy about that.
Take it easy, ED.
Take it easy.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.